No problem. So what's the relation between prosopon and hypostasis then? So this is a post-schism father. So like Saint Severus is a heretic for the Chalcedonians, but I'm using him to show what we believe in and why we use the language we use, which is based on Saint Cyril.
We call him
So,
Tagit Surai, the crown of the Assyrians. We call.
So Saint Severus says, first he's explaining what self-subsisting hypostases are. So he says, when hypostases subsist by individual subsistence, as for instance those of Peter and Paul, whom the authority of the apostleship united, then there will be a union of persons and brotherly association, not a natural junction of one hypostasis made up out of two that is free from confusion. So what he's saying is that when hypostases can subsist by their own, they have their own personhood, their own identities, personalities. And so when these hypostases unite, which have their own prosopa, persons, the union is not a natural one. It's not a union in nature or hypostasis, but a union between persons like St. Paul and Peter. And then he explains what non-self-subsisting hypostases are.
Oh boy.
So he says, but when hypostases do not subsist in individual subsistence, as also in the case of the man among us, I mean him who is composed of soul and body, but are without confusion recognized in union and composition, being distinguished by the intellect only and displaying one hypostasis made out of two. Such a union none will be so uninstructed as to call one of persons. So he's saying, when we look at, for instance, a man, he is composed of two hypostases, which I will be showing from earlier fathers even. When he's composed of two hypostases, because these two hypostases do not exist on their own, like
they're unified in the person.
Sorry,
because they're unified in the person.
They're unified. They've always existed as one. When someone is conceived, like conception, they exist always as one, and so the person is attributed to that one hypostasis, which is made of two.
Okay.
Let me see.
The two that make the person are the soul and the body.
Yes, right.
Together.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just so you
are made of two.
Yeah, you speak a little too fast, Maggot. But let's slow down.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll come back. Okay. So we can all follow you, buddy. I don't know. It's like you're rushing to go to dinner. You'll get to dinner, man. Don't.
No. It stays that's why.
Okay. So we can understand, because this man is brilliant and he's speaking on a level that's going to take us 50 years to go to Oxford Philosophy School to figure out. So let me figure out what he's saying here. When hypostases do not subsist in individual subsistence, as also in the case of the man among us, I mean him who is composed of soul and body, but are without confusion, recognized in union and composition. All right, I'm going to explain that in a minute. I just want to see what he meant by two, being distinguished by the intellect only and displaying one hypostasis made out of two. Okay. Such union will be so uninstructed as to call one of persons. All right, so the hypostasis of this man, meaning this man is an instantiation of human nature. But to be a hypostasis of human nature means you have to be composed of two parts, body and soul.
Yes.
So that's why I'm trying to help people, because people are like me, we're trying to figure it out. So understand what this quote from this brilliant theologian, who would make William Lane Craig look like a kindergarten idiot. Anyway, so you understand what he's saying is, if you are a hypostasis of human nature, a pneuma of human nature, to be a hypostasis of human nature, there has to be two parts to you, body and soul. Body and soul, because you can't be human if you don't have a body, and if you don't have a soul that's united. So he's saying that the hypostasis of the man is composed of the two, body and soul. So you guys with me?
Hypostases.
Say it again.
Which themselves are hypostases. Like
that was the other element. So to him, not only is the hypostasis instantiation of a man realized in the union of the body soul, but you can speak of the body as a hypostasis of human nature and the soul as a hypostasis of the human nature.
Yes, and that's why
you guys see how technical this is. Now these guys think we're going to figure it out, in the next 50 years. But you see how technical it got? Okay, so now what he's saying is that you can even speak of the human body as a hypostasis and the human soul as another hypostasis, but they become one in the man. Is that
And
what the
that
quote is?
each, yeah, and that not like each hypostasis does not have its own person. So the unity isn't between persons, but between
Yeah.
hypostases.
Which is beautiful because that's one of the objections level. Okay, now the soul and the body have the same person. It's the same person that has the soul and the body. So the body is not a separate person and the soul is not a separate person. So they're not two persons, they're one person, parsopa. So two hypostases, a body and a soul, but they're united in the man, and both of them have only one person, parsopa. They don't
And one
each have,
hypostasis.
say it again?
And one hypostasis even. So both of them
Yeah, because
compose
after
one
the union,
hypostasis
yes.
and
So
one
that's
person.
after the union, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even like they don't exist separately before, because when we are conceived, it's like one. But we can conceive of them as being two in the mind, and they become two in reality when death happens. I will
That's
illustrate
what I was
this
going to
with
say.
a diagram.
When you die, well, then what? Then there are two hypostases?
Yes, they separate and become
The
two
union is
natures.
dissolved at death.
Yes.
Okay. So now let me ask you a question as you continue. So at death, the union is dissolved. So that body that's a human hypostasis returns. But the human soul, it's still united to the parsopa, because obviously we don't believe in cessation of existence after death, right?
Yeah. So the prosopon is located in the hypostasis. So when you die, your body is in the grave, decomposing. Meanwhile, your soul goes up to paradise with your consciousness, with your personality, and so
Well,
on.
the parsopa goes to heaven as a human soul,
Yes.
but the human body is being dissolved until the resurrection.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I hope you guys got it. Hope you go back and rewind this, and hope you guys got it, because this is so technical with these fathers. That's why it makes us look like kindergarten girls. But go ahead.
So he says then, though the hypostasis of God the Word existed before, or rather was before all ages and times, being eternally with God, both the Father and the Holy Spirit, yet still the flesh possessing an intelligent soul, which he united to him, did not exist before the union with him. So he's saying that the human hypostasis, which he assumed, because it has to be a hypostasis, and I will explain why later on, it was not separate, or it did not exist before its union, nor was a distinct person assigned to it.
Okay.
And that's because it did not exist before its union with it. So there is no like Jesus walking around before and then God united with him. No.
That's adoptionism.
Yeah, exactly. So it started to exist the moment God became man.
Okay, let's break this down for all of my friends. My friends, let's break this down. I love what he said here. He says, the Word is uncreated, no beginning, almighty, with the Father and the Son. That's your Trinity. Notice the quote. Though the hypostasis, or like he says it, hypostasis. I say hypostasis. You say tomato, I say tomato. It doesn't matter. The hypostasis of God, the Word. So this instantiation of the divine nature that we call the Word. Notice he's eternal, uncreated. Existed before, or rather was before all ages and times. He has no beginning. Being eternally with God, both the Father and the Holy Spirit. Now it's saying this Word, right? Yet still the flesh possessing an intelligent soul. So I'm assuming that he believes that to be human, you have to have an intelligent, rational soul, right?
So
this is his anthropology, right?
Could you just repeat that? Sorry, I didn't hear that part.
So when he says the flesh possessing an intelligent soul, so
Yes.
I'm assuming that in their anthropology, to be human, you have to have a rational soul.
Yes.
Okay, but what he's not saying is that this rational soul exists as a separate consciousness from the Word, right?
Yes.
Because the rational soul, what is it?
It doesn't exist as its own person outside of the union.
Okay, so this rational soul is not a person. It is the Word who, as a person, unites to himself this human soul. So it's the person of the Word who now unites to himself this rational soul, because the rational soul without the Word would not be a person.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you guys figure it out, man. I pray for you
So
guys.
this is the relation between prosopon and hypostasis.